My name is Klaus, the Situation Schwab. This Christmas, cuddle up with your loved ones while you enjoy a delicious holiday feast of new ferns and crunchy crickets, and pop in a very special collection of songs. The World Enslavement Forum presents Waxmas Hits 23. I'm dreaming of a great reset, like communism, just in smart. There's gene selection and eye detection and tone surveillance everywhere. Like COVID, I gave you my check, but for every new stash, you had to refresh. This year, a new pandemic is here. Get ready for forced injections. On the 5th day of lockdown, my government gave me 5 stinky masks. 4 COVID tests, 3 boosters, 2 sudden deaths, and attempted genocide. Police at your door. Police at your door. Police at your door. Growing your own food is not allowed anymore. You better not ask or lift an eyebrow, why people are dying suddenly now. Cancer Klaus is coming to town. I don't want a lot for Christmas, just control humanity. Maybe release new hybrid species, like a monkey manatee.
Please kill me.
I just want to rule the world, every tree and every bird. That is my goal. All I want for Christmas is your soul.
Good evening, Friday night people. It is Kingdom Lum Small Town Underground, and what we were just watching was from the channel Snick Link on YouTube, with some good old-fashioned Christmas carols from none other than Klaus Schwab. So, my goodness, look at the AI. I'm telling you, it's something incredible. So, if you feel like checking it out, like I said, it's on Snick Link on YouTube. I saw this today and I had to play it tonight, so who knows, I might get flagged for it. But I want to show everybody real quick before we get started here. I'm going to blow this back up because this is funny. What does it say here? Great Reset, Wikipedia. The Great Reset Initiative is an economic recovery plan drawn up for the World Economic Forum in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The project was launched in June 2020 with a video featuring the then Prince of Wales, Charles, released to mark its launch. So, directly from COVID. Anybody out there remember Event 201? Event 201 that was taking place a couple of months before COVID-19. That tells you all you need to know. Man, I got a lot of stuff tonight. So I really appreciate it if you're sharing your Friday evening with me. I do apologize. The Christmas season, I wasn't even going to do one, but I decided to do one tonight because I got a lot of stuff to get out. That being said, thank you for being here. Feel free to share this around. I will, as long as I'm a good little boy, I will get unbanned from Facebook Lives on the 27th. So hopefully, if I don't share any conspiracy theories or tinfoil hatter stuff or anything that goes against the status quo of the World Economic Forum, then I'll get back on and hopefully we'll have a great New Year's bash. I plan on something special. Hopefully I can bring it together. So the first thing that I would like to share tonight, let me find it right here. Let me pull this up. This is a really important thing coming up on January the 5th. And let's read it here. A new year, fresh start. Come listen to Dr. Douglas Frank speak with a brief video message from Dr. Rick Richards, MD, inventor of Eagle AI. Eagle Eye, which I've been looking into some of this stuff here. It's apparently a program that is supposed to be able to track some things going on in the election systems and track how, kind of like I guess it's a parallel program that's supposed to go in and kind of track how votes are going which way. I don't really know, but I'm going to find out because I'm going to be there on the 5th. Hopefully I'll be able to record this event. I know Wednesday is going to be at the Gainesville Civic Center, Thursday Cherokee, and Friday he's coming to Rome, which is hosted by Reagan Box, U.S. Senate 2026. So the event starts at 5:30. Meet and greet 5:30, and the event is at 6:30. So as far as I am aware, the auditorium can host like 400 people. So we need to fill it. We need to fill it up with people, and check this out. The event is free. I believe they're going to do donations. So make plans to go. I'm going to be there. Hopefully I will be able to see all of you guys there. And I know some great people that are going to show up to this event. So I want to just get that out of the way. So first, I would like to start off the show tonight and just take a little bit of a stroll down memory lane, okay? Because I feel like some people forget where we've come from, So let me get a drink of coffee real quick. So the first thing I want to share tonight is I remember my father's always watched Fox News. I've grown up listening to all kinds of stuff, NPR, Coast to Coast AM, Jordan Maxwell, you name it. I've seen Zeitgeist, Alex Jones, all this crap. So I remember pre-2016 getting into a big argument with my dad because I've never in my life watched one of Donald Trump's episodes. You fired. I can't even remember the name of it, right? Whatever it's called, Celebrity Apprentice or whatever. And I remember Donald Trump being in rap songs and like being in Home Alone and all this stuff, and people kind of worship Donald Trump and all this crap. But I've never watched one of his shows, one of his episodes, whatever. I have watched a lot of the old CNN clips from him, 20 years ago, whatever. Just did a little research. But my point is, I remember getting in this huge argument with my father over Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz was going to be the president. There was no doubt about it. The research I did into everything was Donald Trump. And my father was livid with me talking about Donald Trump. He's like, are you kidding me? Donald Trump's not going to be the next president. I said, yes, he will. I said, I feel it. And he's like, oh, Donald Trump, he's a rich blah, blah, blah. You don't want him. We're going to go for Ted Cruz. I said, Ted Cruz is not going to be able to make it. I said, Donald Trump will be the next president. Now, I didn't say that with pure confidence that Donald Trump was going to be the next president in 2016. I was already kind of hooked into the politics anyway, silently, because, I knew 2 years ago before Barack Obama was going to run, because NPR would talk about Barack Obama, what a great community organizer he was, 8 years prior to that. And we knew that he was going to be the president. I wasn't so sure that he was going to be the president in his second term, but what was it, Mitt Romney? That's when I knew things were kind of falling apart. I believe, wasn't it, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was Mitt Romney that he was running against. And, God, I couldn't get behind Mitt Romney back then. Like, he was a tool, man. So, but anyway, I'm losing my train of thought. So, I wasn't saying that out of pure confidence that Donald Trump was going to be the president in 2016. The reason why I supported Donald Trump for president was very, very simple. It's very, very simple. Donald Trump was not a part of the political establishment. Okay? He was a great many things. He was worshipped. He was worshipped by all races and creeds and minorities for everything he'd ever done. He was the greatest thing since sliced bread. Everybody looked up to him. Everybody wanted to be Donald Trump. But the sole purpose for me saying that and looking at that and seeing the money and seeing what he was saying was he was starting a revolution. All right? And I wanted to get behind somebody who was not a part of the political establishment. And that's where I came from. And I told my father that. I said, listen, I don't have anything against Ted Cruz. I said, but Donald Trump is not part of the political establishment. He's creating something here. There's something going on, right? That's how I felt about this. And so sure enough, the night before, of course, it's down to the wire. Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, there. And I can honestly tell you, and I have no reason to lie, that when I went to bed that night, I did not go to sleep with the high hopes that Donald Trump was going to become president. I figured that Hillary Clinton was going to win it, okay? Based on the articles, based on the news, based on all of the opposition to Donald Trump, because as soon as Donald Trump said he'd come up the elevator or the stairs and said, "Hey, I'm running for president," what happened? All hell broke loose. I mean, and everybody was against this man, But I held out my hopes, but I was not hopeful that he was going to be the next president. I was shocked just like everybody else, really. Even though I voted for him and I was like, this is going to be our next president, I truly didn't believe that, right? Because of the system and the broken system and what we have. And Hillary Clinton, and the Clinton family tree, and you get what I'm saying. So I'm going somewhere with all this. So that happened, and I was awake the night. I was awake like most of you were awake whenever the State Farm Arena had to shut down because a big toilet broke and there was water leaking from the ceiling, and they had to shut down the arena because they had to shut all these things down. Little did we know that they shut down every part in every state and all the battleground states. Everybody shut down, and then they put cardboard and they put plastic and they up on the walls, and then they told everybody to go home, and just go home, man. We are soaked. We're in 2-3 inches of water here. Just go home. We'll take care of this in the morning, right? Which is 2020. But let me back up to 2016, all right? Because I'm getting ahead of myself. So here we are in 2016. I wake up the next morning. Donald Trump is officially the president of the United States of America. Immediately, I got like this sick feeling in my stomach. I was like, holy crap. I cannot believe that he is president. He really did it. I cannot believe it. And I immediately, within that first week, lost friends. Like, people were so livid. I'll never forget the march with the you-know-what hats and all this crap. I mean, just remember back where you were, all right, during all this. Because it went into pure chaos. Pure chaos. Just like that. Bam, overnight. Pure chaos, right? 2016. And the first week that this happened, man, I lost a lot of friends, man. I mean, like, people were they were upset with me like I had just killed the world, And I was like, I can't believe this. And I'll never forget the post that I made, which was, let's be able to judge this man like we would judge anybody else, right? So let's fast forward a little bit, right? Look what happened from 2016 to 2020, right? We literally went through immortal hell. I mean, the gates of hell opened up in this country. And it's like, I don't know, what I would imagine, trying to run, the beaches of Normandy with a machine gun nest, right? It just went absolutely crazy all over the place. Coordinated, crazy. Everything flipped upside down like the Stranger Things, right? The upside down world. We went completely upside down. We went bonkers. Went through 2017. We went through the Summers of Love. We went through all of these coordinated attacks all over. The Event 201 comes up. What happens with Event 201? And then a couple months later, all of a sudden, we're hearing about the virus, right? The COVID virus, which completely shut us down, right? 14 days to stop the spread, blah, yada, yada. Years later, we've killed small business. We've created an entire corporatocracy. We enacted and activated the Patriot Act from 2001, which really ramped up into what happened with the FISA warrants in 2016. And then we are on the chaos of Russian collusion and Chuck Schumer saying we've got 6 ways from Sunday to getting back at you. You don't remember all this stuff in your head because it leads up to the 2020 election. All right, so the 2020 election comes and it goes, and what happens? Joe Biden, of all people, gets elected president, right? Yeah, right. So I'm skipping a whole bunch of stuff, but I want you to remember where you were at when we cover the rest of this information, because it's like we're living in an upside down world where facts don't matter, like everything's twisted. 2022 happens, right? We end up having 2 runoff elections, right? 2020, 2022. And 2022 numbers, I've maintained this, were crazier than 2020. They were crazier than 2020. When you get down to the meat and potatoes of 2022, it's absolutely crazy to start looking at these numbers. Once you understand, like, hey, something's wrong here, and then you start looking into it, 2022 blows my mind how it can be. Here we are at the cusp, at the end. We're 2 weeks away from 2024, right? Or technically 1.5 weeks. And we have, the gates of hell are fully opened up. Completely opened up here. And we're going to go through the worst year of my life. I'm telling you, we thought that things were bad when Trump was in office. Whew, we got a long way to go. Now, I said all of that to say this, because I have a hypothesis. This is really what I believe. When you want to get into election integrity and you want to get into artificial intelligence, electronic voting machines, I believe that they were in the early stages in 2016 of an algorithm of certain ways that they could manipulate votes. And I believe that the vote for Donald Trump in 2016 was so overwhelming, that the algorithms, they weren't ready for what had happened. And I believe that the news media and that the Clinton campaign and all of these people that were in high opposition for Trump were kind of sitting back with their arms folded, saying, don't worry about nothing. We got this. And it turns out they didn't get it. And there was no way they could hide it because they thought they had it in the bag, see? That's why things went spiraling out of control, because it was a mistake. Donald Trump was a mistake. He wasn't supposed to win. They were supposed to have everything covered. There wasn't supposed to be that many people, based on their stupidity, for number one, based on the amount of people that were engaging in the vote, based on I guess their elitist, whatever you want to call it. They were not ready for this. So 2016 happened, and it was a mistake. Well, they had 4 years to prepare for 2020, and boy, did they prepare for 2020. And without even going into detail, I think a lot of you people know what I'm talking about. 2020 happened, and it was a complete sham. We know this. Everybody knows. At this point, if you don't know that 2020 was a complete sham, there's no help for you. I got nothing for you, especially with all this information coming out. That also being said, I think they took it too far, man. I think they took it too far because it was blatantly obvious. It was blatantly coordinated. They thought they had it in the bag. They thought that everybody would buy it hook, line, and sinker. And so, what were they going to do? I always say that they don't care if the truth comes out. It's the timing of the truth. It's when the truth comes out, right? Fast forward to 2022, where they got a lot smarter. They got a lot smarter with their algorithms. They got a lot smarter with the things that they were doing, and they realized that they couldn't just take it all. They could not take it all. What they had to do is they had to figure out smart ways to give more over here but take more away. And they did, and it was blatantly obvious, okay? Blatantly obvious. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that there weren't some organic forces behind these things, right? I'm not trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you to question everything. But the way I see it, 2022 numbers were way more obscure than the 2020 numbers. And so we can't do anything about either of these years, right? They're there, and we're trying. People are fighting tooth and nail to expose all of these things. But it's so much information, so much pushback, which we're about to get to. But like I said, you go back to 2022 numbers, that's more of an eye-opener to me than to 2020, because we know about 2020. Fast forward now, here we are. We're at the point now where Colorado is taking Donald Trump off the ballot. And we're going into insane territory, right? So first thing I want to cover is this, Blaze Media. Just think about all this stuff. I mean, it's really crazy how far we've came in about 6 years, right? So Donald Trump was removed from the Colorado ballot, right, by the state Supreme Court, a bunch of can openers in Colorado. I just wanted to share this because we all know the news. Ramaswamy pledges to withdraw from Colorado GOP presidential primary if Trump isn't allowed on the ballot, right? Kudos to Vivek Ramaswamy for at least standing up to the truth, because that's all I really care about. I'm not voting for Vivek Ramaswamy, but I think a lot of you are starting to come around what we've talked about Vivek, right? Vivek is spitting so much truth out there that it doesn't even matter if it's controlled opposition. I mean, everything's a psyop now, but he's doing damage. He is doing damage, and they cannot stop him. I mean, he is on fire, but I appreciate and applaud the fact that he even came out to do this, right? He's running against Donald Trump. And this is what he quoted. This is what an actual attack on democracy looks like. In an un-American, unconstitutional, and unprecedented decision, a cabal of Democrat judges are barring Trump from the ballot in Colorado. Having tried every trick in the book to eliminate President Trump from running in this election, the bipartisan establishment is now deploying a new tactic to bar him from ever holding office again, right? The 14th Amendment. So let's talk about this for a second, right? Let's just talk about this because, first off, I'm not too worried about this at all because it is unconstitutional, and we're going to get into accountability in a little bit. But the Supreme Court is barring him from the ticket on false pretenses. He was never convicted. He was never charged with insurrection. Insurrection, as far as I'm concerned, never happened in the first place. Something happened, but it wasn't insurrection, right? And so this is ultimately should get blocked by the Supreme Court. Now, granted, we're living in an upside-down world, so God only knows, right? And the thing about this is that you can still write the President Trump in, right? You can still write Donald Trump in, whether he's on the ballot or not, which would take a huge concerted effort to do. But also, the Colorado GOP are talking about a caucus, which I'm not going to get into tonight because I'm learning about the caucus. I'm learning about the caucus and what these things are. But it's pretty crazy. I was super, super mad whenever I saw this because it just shows the sheer idiocracy of these can opener people. But kudos to Vivek Ramaswamy for coming out. Kudos to people like the most unlikely, I would say, people, right? Here is a quote I could not show you from, there it is. Hang on. Well, I hope I didn't lose it. Anyway, Robert F. Kennedy come out and said the same thing about this. I can't find it now, guys. I'm sorry. But anyway, you got two people that are running for president that have come out and said it. You got people like DeSantis who had to be poked and prodded to say something like this. You got Nikki Haley. It's politics before the truth. It's always politics before the truth. This is why you've got people like me out here that are calling this crap out, right? It's always politics before the truth. Nobody in their right mind should be for Donald Trump being removed from the ballot under these pretexts. You understand? Under these pretexts. And this does not have anything to do with the accountability rule. Let's make that very clear. But this is some insane stuff. I mean, think about what I'm talking about when I talk about election integrity 2022, 2020, 2016. Why are they trying to keep this man off the ballot? Because Joe Biden won with 181 million votes. Guys, this is not rocket science. Why are they even scared of Donald Trump? Do you understand? Or maybe is it because 2016 was a failure, 2020 was supposed to be a win, but it is proven to be a failure. 2022 is even more of a failure, and they know that so many people are paying attention now, they cannot get away with the things that they've done to get this far. You understand? That's the simple common sense logic behind all this. They are scared to death because they are running out of options here. They're running out of options. And it doesn't help your case if you think that everything was okay with the elections, okay? It doesn't help your case because of the desperation all of this is creating. This is insane. I don't think that Joe Biden should be taken off the ballot. I don't, let him come, let whoever. I don't think Robert Kennedy. I don't think any of these people should be taken off the ballot. This is insane. We're in insane clown world territory. But make no mistake, this is probably another psyop, right? Because the Epstein files are supposed to be released in 12 days, and God knows we got 70+% of our naval fleet in the Red Sea right now, fixing to go into a holy war. 2024 is going to be absolutely off the wall. Get ready, folks. Get ready. So I'm trying to stay here. So here we are. That's a Blaze Media. If you want to see his actual tweet, there it is. Let's look at a couple other things real quick. So let's see here. I'll wait on that. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to share this from Antonio Jones. I'd actually had this saved, but I was looking around and saw that he'd posted it today. So I just wanted to share it. Antonio Jones is... He actually shared this from Attorney General Andrew Bailey. Breaking, we have filed a brief at the United States Supreme Court to halt Jack Smith's move to circumvent the appeals process, right? So what this means is that they're trying to speed up they were trying to speed up this case against Donald Trump, all right? They were trying to accelerate the prosecution, okay, and obviously there's not enough time to go through the evidence, right? So I found this very interesting because I'm going to lead into this, but it says the DOJ's attempts to accelerate the persecution is blatantly partisan and SCOTUS must reject it. So this is I guess additional councils, right? We have Alaska, Florida, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, South Carolina, South Dakota, Texas, Utah, West Virginia, and Wyoming. I believe it's 19, I think I counted. Thank you, Antonio. The reason I wanted to bring that up is because he, in his post, where did it go? Here, I wanted to read this. It says, all I want to know is why Georgia is not on the list. So Georgia's not on this list. So you would think that Georgia might be on this list, but we all know. We all know the truth, right? I don't even have to explain why Georgia is not on this list, right? I thought that was very interesting. But let's move along here to, let's just go ahead into some of these. So we've covered Colorado. Right? It's a sham. Our state Supreme Court, our Supreme Court of the United States should make the ruling on this, should make the right ruling on this. But make no mistake, I believe there's 16 other states that are exploring this. And I'm not saying that this will, the Supreme Court's going to overrule it. But this is where we're at, folks, in 2024. I wanted to play this little snip from Liberal Hive Mind, who has a great YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out, you need to check this out. But I want to show you what the prosecuting attorney says here. So I'm just going to roll it.
Of saying absolutely insane stuff. Well, let's simply add to the list. Here's a video posted on her social media accounts, which has people scratching their heads.
After 11 weeks in court, we rested our case against Donald Trump, the Trump Organization, and other defendants. We brought this case after our 4-year investigation revealed that Donald Trump committed repeated and persistent fraud and unjustly enriched himself, his family, and his business. Before this trial even began, the judge ruled in our favor and found that Donald Trump did engage in years of significant financial fraud we uncovered. Throughout this trial, we revealed the full extent of that fraud. We introduced extensive evidence and questioned more than 24 witnesses. We heard from Donald Trump and his family, his co-defendants, his current and former employees at the Trump Organization, his accountants and associates at financial institutions, loan underwriters, real estate professionals, and experts. And their testimony illustrated years of fraud and baseless valuations to inflate Donald Trump's net worth. And we showed that Donald Trump's financial statements were used to get better loan terms, tax breaks, and a host of other economic benefits. Next month, we will return to court to present our closing argument. I am confident in our case and that justice will prevail.
Now, I don't know if you caught it. I don't know if you guys heard that specific part, so let's play it specifically.
Before this trial even began, the judge ruled in our favor and found that Donald Trump did engage in years of significant financial fraud we uncovered.
Do you hear that? So if you haven't heard this clip yet, I wanted to share it with you because there's not even been a trial. There's not even been before the trial started, the judge sided with them. So this is what kind of banana republic that we're dealing with. They're not. It's not even a question of guilt or innocence. And also, I understand that that's the main giveaway. I mean, that's insane on its own. But if you really think about the investigation, 4 years of investigating Donald Trump. It's taken 4 years to investigate a man. I mean, it goes back to the old saying, show me the man and I'll show you the criminal or the crime. Or you can indict a ham sandwich. You know, this is the level of insanity these people are willing to go. And at the same time, they're going through multiple fronts here, right? Because look what they're doing. At the same time, they're not even confident in their own cases in Georgia, in New York. They are literally trying to remove this guy from the ballot, claiming insurrection. All right, this is the level of insanity that we're at, and there's no trial here. There's no, and they're trying to speed these trials up into March, where they can't even go through the evidence. They can't even go through the proper paperwork. They're trying to speed this all up so they can get it done before 2024. I mean, if this is not collusion, if this is not election meddling, I don't know what else is. But it's the same. I always go back to Saul Alinsky's Rules of Radicals. What do? What they do, they project onto the opposition. This what they're doing. So they're obviously election meddling, right? It's insane to me. It's insane that people are buying this. I mean, the hatred and the vitriol is just something out of this world. So if you haven't heard that clip yet, of course, it just blows my mind, absolutely blows my mind. So Donald Trump is obviously under attack. God knows where this is all going to go. I don't know. I mean, I don't even feel like we have a republic anymore. I don't feel like we have a justice system anymore. I don't feel like anything. I feel like any day the matrix is going to implode, right? I feel like any day now that things are just going to, I'm just going to wake up and then poof, because it's every day something like this is happening. So what's it going to be tomorrow? Obviously, California, that can opener, Gavin Newsom in California, right? What do we talk about? We talk about Gavin Newsom. People are telling me that Michelle Obama is going to be running for president. I said, I don't believe so. I think it's going to be Gavin Newsom. I still don't know how they're going to play this out with vegetable Biden, but I don't think it's going to be Michelle Obama. Okay, I don't believe. I think it'll be Gavin Newsom. That being said, Gavin Newsom is such a coward in his own state of California, and probably a little butthurt because they weren't the first ones to do this. Colorado beat him to the punch. That his lieutenant governor came out with, we need to explore every possibility we can to just do this. It's absolutely insane. What a coward! What a can opener these people are. So. Expect more gaslighting, expect more of this crap, let's expect more of our Supreme Court to shut this crap down. They've been trying this for a while now. Look to Michigan. Michigan's going to enact this. There's going to be like 16 states here. I mean, this is insane. This is insane. So before I'm going to cover all the world events or whatever I'm saying, and then we're going to Georgia. But, So I thought this was an interesting article I wanted to share with everybody, just kind of moving along. But this is an Axios article. Listen to this. This is Capitol Hill stunner. 2023 led to the fewest laws in decades. Stunner. This is stunning. Bills enacted by this. It shows a graph, and it says the 118th Congress is on track to be one of the most unproductive in modern history, with just a couple dozen laws on the books at close of 2023, according to data from data analytics firm Quorum. Ooh, who told you about data analytics firm? Data analytics. Get used to the word. Guess what? Your state's got data analytical centers, and they're going to be talking. Well, what did I go through? Data analytic. It's all connecting. Every bit of it is connecting. Why it matters. It's the product of not only divided partisan control of Washington, but infighting with the House. This is a BS article, all right? The point that I wanted to make with this is that they are looking at it as a bad thing that we enacted the fewest laws in decades. Like, is that all? I mean, like, what is the goal here? I'm all about small government. I'm anti government, big government. To me, that's a win for the people. No new laws created. The fewest laws in what, decades? We should be celebrating that we didn't add laws to the books. We just went through a horrible NDAA law where the Republicans and Democrats both signed it in. And the FISAs, the spying, all of this money that's going to be allotted. I mean, we can't win for losing. But here we have this narrative that this is the most unproductive Congress in decades. And you know what? Amen. Thank you, Jesus. We didn't pass a bunch of asinine, stupid laws, right? Because that's all we seem to be doing is passing laws. And if this law doesn't pass, well, guess what? Let's dress it up with a brand new number the next year, and then we'll put a flashy little title on it, and let's try to pass it next year. Or, well, we didn't get this to pass, so why don't we just scrunch it on into this set of laws that we're going to try to pass where nobody's paying attention, and then we'll pass it, and eventually. It's all you got to do, man. You just got to keep on pushing, and eventually you're going to get it, right? That's where we're at in this country, and it's a sad state of affairs. Sad state of affairs. So we're talking about, I'll cover that in a minute. Here's another one dealing with some election integrity. How does this make you feel, people? I want you to take a good look at this. This is from the Boston.com. City Council approves measure that would let immigrants with legal status vote in Boston elections. It was passed with an 8-4 vote and still needs the approval of Mayor Michelle Wu and the state legislature. So happening in Boston, Massachusetts. Now, there's something I wanted to read out of this. Let's find it here. You got to always go down. Now, listen to this. Immigrants that have legal status make up more than 28% of Boston's population. According to the measure sponsors, they pay an average of $2.3 billion in taxes annually. At least 15 municipalities across America have given municipal voting rights to non-citizens, according to the sponsors. This includes San Francisco, New York City, and communities in Maryland and Vermont. In addition, Laura said that Massachusetts communities like Amherst, Cambridge, Newton, and Somerville have passed similar home rule petitions. Now, I don't know about you, but that's what I would consider low information voter, right? Yeah, this is happening. This is happening all over the place. You want to talk about election integrity, right? Because when we talk about this, we're talking about it on multiple levels, right? This doesn't even have anything to do with the machines or any of this stuff. This is going on all over the place. Now, two key takeaways here. 28% of the city's population. 28%. Which is in and of itself ridiculous when you think about the border and the hundreds of thousands that are at the border right now, Eagle Pass. Don't even get me started on that. I mean, we could do an entire episode on that. I mean, when I say we're upside down, you know it. We're upside down. We haven't even seen the problems that are coming our way. I'm not trying to doom and gloom you, but you better be prepared. This is reality now. And here you have municipalities, and they're gonna give legal status, whatever the crap that means. They're gonna be able to vote. They're already putting them through police academy. They're already letting them come into the military. What do you think is going to happen, right? Do I need to draw a picture and spell it out? I mean, this is insane. Like, this has no level of common sense, no level of, my God, I mean, It's the destruction of America. Plain, pure, simple. There's no way around it. And I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, because every day I open up the same news thinking we're going to have a victory, something good's going to happen. And here we are. And it's like, oh, by the way, we took your president off for insurrection, for a bogus thing that'll probably be overturned. But this is our statement, right? And we're going to let legal immigrants vote. We're going to let with legal status, whatever the heck that means. We're going to allow it. So don't you worry. We're going to get these one way or another. You know, this is like, God knows the amount of think tanks that are going into this. Like, well, we can't do this anymore because we did this year. We can't do this anymore because we did this year. Okay, what can we do? Okay, well, let's do this. Let's do this, and we'll start with the municipalities. We'll start local and coordinated attacks all over the place. Coordinated. Whew, it's craziness. So I'm fixing to get off into the Georgia stuff, right? And so just hang with me. One thing I wanted to cover real quick is this Mediaite story that's going around, right? We all have heard about the Epstein list that's coming out. We've all heard it. Oh, they're going to release 177 names of Epstein. Now, I believe it when I see it. The same way that I believe that Joe Biden is going to be impeached. The same way that I believe that our Congress is, or our state for that matter, are care about their people, right? So I will not, I don't even care at this point. But when you think about PSYOPs, well, maybe this whole Colorado push could be just one. Because when you think about it, and I had to stop and think about it, let my anger not get the best of me, but this thing in Colorado is bogus. They know that it's bogus. They don't care. They don't give two craps. They're going to vote for it anyway. But ultimately, I don't know how it can make it up to the Supreme Court, especially the Supreme Court we have now, and anybody take it seriously, right? So I believe that Trump's going to be all right there, right? God knows where else. My point is this is a perfect, and think about it, you've got 16 states that are going to do this. This is, even if you had one state a day that came out and said that they were going to remove Donald Trump from the ballot, that's 16 days worth of reporting that could run shade for God knows what else, right? They could just completely run shade on anything Epstein client list and all this. So I'm looking at this as a psyop, to be quite honest with you. It's what it seems like it is to me. But, who knows? If the Epstein list comes out, we'll see. Is it going to be 177 names? Or are there going to be names redacted? Or is there anybody going to come up and hit the appeal before 14 days? Furthermore, if any part of the document has been edited or messed with, then we're to assume that all of the document has been messed with, right? So who knows in this point in time? Who knows, when we have Sports Illustrated that are creating artificial intelligent reporters with backgrounds and stories and like Total Recall type stuff, and they're writing news reports. When we have an entire Channel 1 that's going to start using artificial intelligent people, not even real people. So, who knows at this point, because things are so upside down. My point is, I'm not even going to jump to conclusions until the list comes out. But I will tell you, if you haven't heard, I have heard I've read the story about some judges saying that the evidence submitted in some of these plaintiffs' cases are so alarming and so damning that they could literally unravel the fabric of our society. That's a huge statement to make. So, Lord knows. we're getting gaslit at every direction, right? So I wanted to cover this real quick before I go into the Georgia stuff. So, Mediaite, Republicans, this is kind of funny. Let's see, Mediaite, Republicans says good conservative congressmen are being blackmailed just because they got naked with strangers in a motel room. So, we'll just go ahead and play some of this. This was Benny Hill, I believe. Here we go.
Congressman, you represent the state of Tennessee. Marsha Blackburn has been completely blackballed in the Senate for asking for these flight logs to be released and for this client list to be released. It seems like now you are fighting with her in the House. Why the protection mechanism? And more importantly, you mentioned recently in an interview that there may be some members of Congress who are personally compromised by this, and they don't want the truth to get out. Can you expound on that?
Yeah, 100%. You got powerful people, and they write the big checks. Well, let's be honest. And powerful people in this country, they write the big checks. And they're the ones out on the tarmac when the president comes and visits, and whichever party they're in. They always either out on the tarmac or in the private room. They're the ones that write the big checks. They don't care who's in. They hate this country. They hate what we're about, but they love their portfolios and they love their money more than they do anything else. And they protect it, and they protect the people that do that. And by doing so, the old honeypot, the Russians do that, and I'm sure members of Congress have been caught up. Why in the world would good conservatives vote for crazy stuff like what we've been seeing out of Congress? It's how it works. You're visiting, you're out of the country, you're out of town, or you're in a motel or a bar in D.C., and whatever you're into, women or men or whatever, comes up, and they're very attractive, and they're laughing at your jokes, and you're buying them a drink. Next thing you know, you're in the motel room with them naked, and next thing you know, you're about to make a key vote, and what happens? Some well-dressed person comes up and whispers in your ear, "Hey, man, there's tapes out on you. Were you in a motel room on whatever with whoever?" And then you're like, "Uh-oh," and said, "You really ought not be voting for this thing."
Okay, I've heard enough. So here you have this Tim Burkett laying it out there, basically saying, "Hey, we're going to have some people compromised over Jeffrey Epstein." Oh, Lord. Can you make any sense of this crap? So Republicans used the word compromised, right? Which is a great segue into the accountability, which I'm going to discuss here. So I don't even know where we're at. Like, so when George Carlin said it's a big club and you ain't in it, I mean, he was not joking. It was a big club. I mean, like, they do not want people like me and you getting in the middle of this business, okay? I guess they're so brazen and got away with it for so long that they just thought that nobody would pay attention. I mean, I go back to my own state senator of the last 20 years. So we were all just not paying attention and listening to the people. Our constituents tell us, just don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. And so is everybody in on the take? Is that all what it's all about? Is it all about the money and the power and the control and the corporatocracy? I mean, do you think that I should have pity if we got some Republican people on this list? I mean, because I don't. You make your bed, you sleep in it, man. I've been married a long time. Never felt the need to step out on my marriage or my children or anything like that. Are you telling me? Well, it goes back to the same thing about being a multi-billionaire and how these how do you call it? The predators, right? The predators, how they work, and how when you have an abundance of everything and you want for nothing, I guess it's not exciting enough. I mean, even Squid Games went through this crap. And Squid Games, the whole premise of Squid Games was about how this man had everything he could ever want, and he decided to create this game where he could possibly die because he the psychology behind that. Because he was bored with life, lost the meaning of life. Is that what happens with this money and this power and control? And then you get blackmailed to the point where you have to vote America out of existence? You have to vote for the stupidest, most vile things because you're blackmailed? Because you're blackmailed beyond measure? You're afraid? Well, you got yourself into this mess, man. God, it's astounding to me. It's astounding to me to think about the levels, the layers of corruption, the deep state corruption, the bribery, the money, the power, the blackmail. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So if you want to read more on this Mediaite article, I was trying to spun a wild tale of blackmail and depravity. Well, I mean, obviously, look what happened. I'm not even covering what happened. There's at least, 2 sex tapes have come out of the White House? Some nasty, nasty stuff. And I was going to share that stuff the other day. And you want to tell you the gaslighting. Most all the articles had nearly a half-naked man bent over as the front cover of the article. And I started to share it. And number one, I thought, well, that's inappropriate. But number two, Don't you think that's a little too convenient to be there on the article? Because, say it's a conservative article or I want to share it on Facebook. Well, they could strike me for having that picture of that person on there. You know what I'm saying? So literally, you got to watch out. The news articles, they're like, hey, we know that they're going to share this. We know they're going to talk about it. We know we're going to gaslight them. Let's put a raunchy picture out there in front so that they can get flagged. And I took it off. I was like, that right there is the level that we're dealing with on all. You got to be careful no matter what you do. So I didn't even share the article, half naked dude. And I'm like, I can't put this up on Facebook. As soon as I do, I'm going to get restricted again. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So I'm going to move into the last part. I want to cover a few articles here because I want to bring up accountability. So Georgia, American News, Georgia case arguing use of electronic voting violated voters' rights, open election vulnerabilities, heads to trial in 2024. If you don't know about this, this is the one that everybody's talking about, the Totenberg case, the U.S. District Court judge. Okay, so a federal judge in Georgia set a trial date for the case on whether the state's voting machines are prone to cybersecurity. The plaintiffs argue that the machines could impact voters' ability. Let me blow this up here a little bit so everybody can see it. Crap. Anyway, U.S. District Court Judge Amy Totenberg set the bench trial date for January 9th, 24. The lawsuit was filed by the Coalition for Good Governance, which is an election integrity advocacy group, and several individual voters. The plaintiffs are requesting the use of hand-marked paper ballots in place, which I wish won't happen, but the plaintiffs hope to come up with a resolution need for a trial, but Judge Totenberg issued a ruling on Friday said the court cannot wave a magic wand in this case to address the varied challenges. So, Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, or is it Rattensberger? Oh no, I'm sorry, it's two F's. Raffensperger, my bad, not Rattensberger. And members of the state election board are named as defendants in the suit. The big thing about this is that Raffensperger, not Rattensberger, was trying to weasel his way out of being able to testify or be put on the stand. So guess what? The judge, Totenberg, said, nope, I'm not going to take that away. You might have to stand trial. And I think they put it down to like 75 minutes or something like that. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing. So if anybody been paying attention, this past week, we had a Georgia Elections Board in Fulton County meeting. As far as I can tell, we had so many great patriots there that were fighting so hard, and we had an elections board of a bunch of can openers that didn't do a damn thing, and they basically they're just ramrodding along doing nothing. We didn't really get much out of that. Of course, they did push some stuff back to the legislature, right? Which is, it's funny to me. It's like a frisbee, just throwing it back and forth, trying to run it out, But it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous here. But all this stuff I bring up because I want to show you. This all ties in election integrity, right? Because I laid out at the beginning of this episode. I wanted you to take a stroll back down memory lane, look at where we were in 2016 and where we're fixing to be in 2024. What has happened this week with Donald Trump, right? And all of this is election integrity. It doesn't. At this point, we've got so much more to even worry about. We've got people fighting tooth and nail. We've got all these cases in Georgia that are coming up and that have been thrown around like a frisbee all over the state. Nobody wants to touch them. We got people weaseling their way out of all of these things, and it's coming down to a head where, guess what? They're going to have to take the stand, right? So let's look at this right here. This is from the Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger. I keep getting that. I'm sorry. It's not Rattensberger. Sorry, Raffensperger. News and announcements. Let's just go through these because I was going to cover one, but Secretary Raffensperger calls on General Assembly to put Georgia voters on. Oh, this is the one. This is December 13th. Raffensperger recognized Georgia election officials with the Eagle Award. I'm going to have to read that one. I'm not even going to focus on the rest of this crap, but right here, I want to show you what this is real quick. Secretary Rafter calls on General Assembly to put Georgia voters on Santa's nice list and end Georgia runoffs. Okay? Not going to read this article all the way through. This is a couple of days ago. But basically, the meat and potatoes of this is he's wanting to end the runoffs that we've had, the two in the last year or so. Listen to this. This holiday season is upon us, and in 2024, Georgians should spend the season with loved ones and create lasting memories, not be inundated with political solicitations for an upcoming runoff. Runoffs have occurred in 2018, 2020, 22 general elections. The end of this holiday campaigning would be Santa's greatest gift to the Georgia voters. So here you have your Secretary of State right here telling you that guess what? Don't be alarmed. Don't be worried about the elections. Don't be worried about the elections at all. You don't have to worry about them. We're going to end this runoff. We're going to end all of this stuff. Just move along. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. When Georgia's exploding with things to see here. I mean, we have a RICO case in this state. I find this very interesting because it goes back to something we covered a while back, months ago, about ranked choice voting. And if you go back through the memory hole and you find out where all of these things have came from, it all boils down to ranked choice voting. You go back to Alaska where they did it, several other, I think there's a couple of the states that are coming up on it. Obviously, this is a push in the direction of ranked choice voting. If you don't know what ranked choice voting is, I suggest you do your homework, go back and look at previous episodes and look it up, because ranked choice voting is communism, basically. It basically takes votes away from a weaker candidate and splits them through the other candidates, and then you could have the second or third place candidate become the winner. It's a bunch of a mumbo-jumbo can opener crap. You need to be careful with it, because I'm telling you, when I say multiple fronts, we are on a multi-front war with elections. I mean, they are trying to destroy them 110%. 110%. So if you're so inclined, you can simply type in sos.ga.gov and Secretary Rasberger. This will pull this up. All of his wonderful information he's got about, hey, don't worry about the elections. It's okay, guys. Just forget about them. We're going to do away with the runoffs and all this other stuff, and we'll eventually try to shoot up for ranked choice voting, and we're going to secure the elections. Yeah, whatever, man. So the last thing I want to cover tonight is a little bit of accountability. So here we go. Killing Daily Herald. This is a story from Greg Bluestein, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. So, in two Georgia counties, GOP activists aim to purge deceptive Republican candidates. So let's watch this, shall we? Read this. I'm gonna blow it up here. Here we go. So, when Buddy Hill ran for his first campaign for Solicitor General, local officials did a double take as he lined up to qualify for office as a Republican. Back then, the county's leadership was dominated by conservative Democrats, and Hill's 2012 victory became a watershed moment for local Republicans. First time recent memory a GOP contender won a countywide race in Chattanooga. As Hill prepares to compete for another term, though, he's ready to wage a legal battle against the local Republican Party that once feted him outraged at new rules that govern which candidates can run on the ballot with an R by their name. So if they decide I'm not Republican enough and they try to disqualify me from running, I'll fight it. It's just not right. Hill said it denies the voters their power to elect who they want. So the article is not an idle concern. This thing has blown up about the accountability. Now, let me just state real quick the accountability rule, because I'm not going to go into the pros and cons of it, because there is a meeting on January the 4th that you can go to that's going to answer all of our questions about accountability. There will be several people there. I expect there to be a little bit of media presence, and I expect there to be some opposition to this. But here's my take on the accountability rule, okay? Number one, nothing here is an end-all be-all, right? Nothing here. The accountability rule is a tool. It's not even a rule. It is a freedom of association within the Republican Party. This is a right. It's not a law. Now, there is a lot of very smart people that cite case law and that are coming out with all of these things why this shouldn't be done. Because I am trying to report on this straight down the middle. Now, I will tell you where I stand first and foremost is I stand with the people in my county and my surrounding counties. This seems like something that can be used as a tool that will actually hold some accountability. And every single article that we've covered tonight from start to finish, there's been zero accountability held in every one of them. In fact, now they want you to feel sorry for Republicans that might have got blackmailed on Epstein's list. You see what I'm saying? There's no accountability for a rogue state Supreme Court that puts a bogus filing, which that's not even accountability, right? Don't get them confused. But there's going to be no accountability held for that. There's no accountability held for anything, right? Now, when you go for a job interview, you have to take a drug test. You have to go in for an interview. You got to do all these things to get a job. Why are we not doing this with our candidates? Why are we not at least vetting them? Because it is our right as a freedom of association to associate with people that hold true the principles of the Republican Party. And so far, the opposition is astounding to me that there's this much opposition about it. It's almost as if like a floodgate has been opened, like, oh my God, you can't do that. And my argument against all of this is very, very simple. We sit back on our hands and we talk a lot and we go to these election board meetings and we go to court, we do things the right way, we vote or Georgia, paper please. We do all of these things the way that we should. We do all of these things and go through the proper channels and like I said, like a frisbee, it just gets thrown around all over the place. We never see any kind of justice. We never see any kind of investigation. We never see any kind of accountability. Instead, we see, if Brad Raffensperger has nothing to hide, if Brian Kemp has nothing to hide, if these people, why are these lawyers recusing themselves in these cases? Why is Brad Raffensperger begging not to testify? Why is it taking 4 years to investigate somebody like Donald Trump, who is heavily hated? You see my point here? Why is the Republican Party, why is the state governor decided that he's going to align with all these coalitions because he has no use for the GOP any longer, right? Why can all of these people go about their merry way and do whatever the hell they want? They can direct the money over to here and they can bankrupt this over here and they can put all these labels on you and use all this power against you. But when you use something that is a freedom of a God-given or a right, a freedom of association, and you say, hey, we should be doing this all along. It's been done in the past. We need to start doing it now because we have people that are being blackmailed by Jeffrey Epstein. We've got people in here that are voting for policies that go against our principles. We've got people that are bought and paid for by the corporatocracy. We've got to stop this. We've got to get more people that care about we the people, right? Instead of caring about the money and the power. And then all of a sudden, people go completely bonkers over this accountability, which doesn't even need to be a rule. It was put in as a rule by this county. Big deal. It doesn't matter. It's freedom of association, and I think we're all going to learn that. Now, am I going to sit here and tell you that it's the end-all, be-all? I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing. I'm going to do like everybody else and try to fight against this idiocracy that we're in, because right now the trajectory is straight a snowball's chance in hell that we're going to be able to pull out of this in the first place, okay? Now, there's people that are a lot smarter than me that argue against this. There's obviously people that are scared to death of this, right? And then there's people that are just completely uncomfortable by this. I get it, right? Everybody wants to be a patriot until it's time to do patriot things, Everybody wants to be involved until it becomes a little uneasy, until it becomes something that's uncomfortable, and all of a sudden they want to pull back and go, oh, I don't want to do that. All you got to do is go back and look at history yet again and see where we've been and what we've been through, and look at the last 6 years that we've been through. Look at 2016, 2020, 2022, COVID. I mean, you name it. The borders, for God's sakes. Like, we cannot sustain this. Municipalities now are passing laws and petitions to let Non-citizens vote. All right, we've got artificial intelligence that could possibly be running some of these algorithms in the next election. We've got an entire state of Georgia who have completely turned their back on the people, right? You look at, I think I've already done away with it now, but you look at the Secretary of State's page about how the good elections are, and they won Eagle Awards and all these things, well, we've got to batten down the hatches, and we've got to make sure that people realize that our elections are secure. Yeah, by ignoring people running into elevators, by not wanting to testify, by turning your back on the people, by telling the people that you no longer have a place in the state GOP and that you got to move over to these coalitions. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on. In the last 2 weeks, my head has been I've been like mind blown at how deep the corruption goes, how little that I know, how little power that I have anyway to change anything. And so, all of a sudden, the county GOPs are going to use freedom of association. We're going to vet people who we want to associate with. Now, what is so hard about that? Where are these people in opposition? Why are they not going to the GOP meetings? Why are they not representing their precinct districts? And why are they not getting involved if they don't like this? These are not people that are showing up saying, hey, I'm here for the party and I want to do something. These are people that I can see that are solidly fighting against the GOP, right? And that right there is a red flag to me. Like, where are you people at? Obviously, they're plotting against. So it's okay for them to plot against, but it's not okay for the GOP to use something like freedom of association, right? So I think we're going to find out a lot of things coming up in the next couple of weeks. I'm really looking forward to this meeting. And I will be filming it. I'll be live streaming it. I'll be there. We'll see what happens, man, because I'm not going to sit here and tell you that any of this is 100%, right? Because I don't know. I don't know where this leads. I know one thing. People are hollering lawsuits and all this stuff. People are getting irate out of nothing. I know one thing. If I was going to run for office and I needed to qualify with the party that I'm representing, I would be very glad to walk in there. And I would sit down and I would tell them my side of the story, because all you have to do is look at the principles of the Republican Party and say, I agree with them, I align with them, and I'm going to vote with them, right? It's not that hard to do. And that's coming from somebody who's been mainly a libertarian for the vast part of my life. That's it. I don't know how else to tell you. I'm not going to sit here and tell you this is an end-all be-all. What I'm telling you this is another tool that you're going to have to get used to. You're going to see more of this come out. And how coincidental is it that Colorado, not the same thing, but they're doing this in a completely different way, right? So all I can tell you is be there at the meeting January 4th. You can holler at me if you want to know where it's at. I'll let you know. I'm going to be there filming it, the entire thing. I will film every single aspect of it, and we'll continue to share it. And because nobody is trying to hide anything at all. Also, along with this, I will post this as well. This is from the Georgia Republican Assembly. It's an accountability rule information sheet. It's very, very simple. You're not going to find this from Greg Bluestein or anybody else. And it's just their take on how these things work. And it's very simple. You just read it and understand it. There's no catches here. There's no gotchas. No matter what they say, no matter what the narrative is, and they try to blow it out of proportion. Okay? And so we'll see how it goes. But think about all of these things that we've discussed tonight. How all of these things have led up to this point. Because our time is running out, folks. Like it or not, everybody wants to be this patriot until it's time to do patriot things. You can take that for whatever it's worth. My point is if you go geopolitical, if you go through the election, if you go through the government, if you go through all the gaslighting, if you go through all of the political mumbo-jumbo babble, none of this, absolutely none of this leads us to any form of stability whatsoever. Whatsoever. So think about this, man. 2024 is going to rock our world like we have never, ever seen. I wholeheartedly believe that. And it's going to ramp up. It's already. What were we saying a couple weeks ago? Hey, we believe we're going to make it through Christmas, and then come January, hell in a handbasket. We're not even Christmas. Christmas is what, 2 days away, 3 days away? And here we have Colorado completely. I mean, they didn't want to wait, folks. They didn't want to wait. So, but just get ready is all I can tell you. And you know what? If anybody out there has anything, if anybody out there wants to sit down and at a table and say, I got some great ideas, maybe we can move things forward, maybe we can get together, maybe we can, I'm always open and willing. And right now there's a lot of infighting. And that's what it is, People are very strongly opinionated, I get it. But my side on this is very simple. I'm going to go and continue to learn like everybody else. And I'm going to support my local GOPs because that's where I was told to go, right? That's what they say, join the GOP. And I find it very fascinating that you go and decide that you're going to fight for things. And the very people that are fighting against you are not even there. They're like in the shadows. They got their own little shadow cabal, right? And we'll ride this horse while it can, but nobody forget where you were with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump in 2016. Just go back and replay everything that we've been through in the last several years. It's astounding, You go back and it's just ridiculous. Anyway, I'm fixing to get off of here. We had a lot of people stop in through the evening. Appreciate it. Ray, thank you so much. I don't know who that is. Hey, brother, good to see you. Ray Blankenship. We were wondering how they were going to be at him. Now we know. Sure, it was ahead of schedule as far as I'm concerned. I mean, and like I said, is this just another psyop to take away from Jeffrey Epstein? Is it another psyop for the next big thing that drops? We got a lot of things. I didn't even cover tech tonight. The stories I have about technology that just didn't have time to prepare because I really wanted to cover what's going on but listen to this just real quick. Let's see here. That somebody sent me a chemtrailsexposed.com building the biggest database of chemtrails on Earth. That's going to be something interesting to look into, right? Raytheon, this is from Interesting Engineering, which you take them as a grain of salt sometimes, right? Raytheon will develop an airborne wireless energy grid for the U.S. in a bid to power anything from nearly anywhere. Not only that, what is Elon Musk's Starlink, which is a huge freaking grid? All of these things technologically are moving along. I'm sure you've heard of Grok, right, from Twitter. Where's some other ones? Pentagon from the Wall Street Journal. Pentagon eyes microwave weapons to tackle drone threat. I mean, CNN.com. NASA just beamed back a cat video from space using a laser. Laser beam, space laser. They're talking about space lasers on mainstream media. I didn't even get into tech tonight. What did we talk about last week? While we're all focused on this, admittedly, all of this other stuff is just sitting here rolling right along, right? All right, XXL Dude, thank you for showing up, my brother. The GOP is 100% compromised. The GOP is, I won't say it's 100% compromised, right? Because I can't say that because the people that are working in the GOP right now that I know are not compromised people. The people that I know that are working in the GOP right now are trying so hard to fight against the compromising, right? Are trying to do everything that they can to stop this compromising. But when you get up into the upper echelons, I said this earlier, my mind has been blown this week to how much corruption and how deep all of this goes. It's almost unthinkable, right? So all I want to be is one of these people. Like if I'm here and I'm around and we're talking about it, well, what can I do to help? That's what I'm doing. So I'm trying to work with people who are not compromised, and we've got to keep each other uncompromised, right? But man, I'm going to talk about uphill battle. This is ridiculous, dude. It is ridiculous. Like I can't fathom how ridiculous it is. Okay, but we're close. You know, I think maybe we can make some headway here in the next couple of weeks. I think it's going to be an interesting year. We definitely may not win the war, but we might get a few victorious battles. We're dang sure not getting it in Atlanta. But who knows? January the 9th, right? 9th, 10th, and 11th, I believe it is. Dude, XXL, dude. Ronna McDaniel is working for Democrats. How can she keep her job after losing 4 election cycles? Well, I mean, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I don't even know, like, Ronna McDaniel's a joke. I mean, Vivek Ramaswamy tore this woman up. And now they're turning on her. Drudge Report, today. I didn't even bring it up today. Where is it at? Anyway, it's already gone now, but Ronna in the deep. New audio reveals president pressured Michigan election workers not to certify win. Ronna is in there. Now they're turning their back on it. It's ridiculous at every single turn what's going on. And I don't know how she could keep her job, really. I don't. But yeah, it's a joke. It's a joke. And I think maybe we the people have some tools in the chest to fight against some of this crap. Maybe, because this is nuts. But okay, XXL, do we need accountability and no more politicians saying hot takes to get donations rolling in and not doing any actions promised? I agree. This accountability is going to be very, very interesting. The people that are working on this right now, all I can tell you is that I trust these people, and they're associates of mine, friends of mine, some mentors of mine. There's a lot people that are a lot smarter than me that are trying, what I can see, are trying very, very hard to get some power back into the people's hands. And it's so funny to me that we all want better representation, but when you threaten better representation, right, people start freaking out, man. I don't know. It's so beyond me. But anyway, folks, I'm way on, like, further than I need to be. I appreciate everybody. I hope everybody out there has a Merry Christmas. I am going to hopefully do a New Year's special. Maybe I can't know the date, but we'll figure it out. I hope to have a couple of people on here with me, and we'll go out the new year with a bang. But we got a lot of stuff coming up. January the 4th, the Chattooga County meeting. January 5th is going to be Rome at the auditorium. January 9th in Atlanta. 9th, the 10th, and 11th is when the Totenberg case goes on. This has been a week of crazy stuff and more to come. Just fasten your seatbelts, folks. We're in for a bumpy ride. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it, but I appreciate all of you. This year, real quick, I am so blessed to have the support and the followers and the ear of people in my life. I think we're going to continue this into 24 for sure, but I can't thank y'all enough for just like allowing me to be a part of your life and listening to my blabber. I don't, you're the reason that keeps me going. I don't care about any of this other stuff. This is what I like. All I can say is thank you, and Merry Christmas, everybody out there. Hey, I got a couple more comments. I'll read them real quick. John Milliken, it's good to see you, sir. If we have receipts showing our individual votes, we can have proof in our hands. They claim it can't be done, but look at the Walmart self-checkout with proof in hand. Citizens can fight. John, it might pique your interest that there's a guy coming on January the 4th to Rome that I will be there. I'll send you the flyer. There's this new Eagle Eye that's coming out that's supposed to be able to track this kind of stuff. They're going to be talking about it. Might be something to look into. XXL, dude, I'll have to come back and watch the first part. Glad you're still doing lives. Thank you, sir. I'm glad to always see you. I expect to have you on here with me very soon, sir. But again, thank you all for spending your Friday night with me. Good night. God bless. Merry Christmas.